Well, hey there, power players. This is going to be something a little bit different. I don't normally do unboxings, especially about unboxings for modern stuff. You might be wondering why the heck I would ever do an unboxing for a modern game. This is the Fire Emblem Shadow Dragon and the Blade of Light 30th Anniversary Edition for the Nintendo Switch. A lot of people started blowing up my Twitter feed about this, and I wasn't sure why until they explained to me that there's actually a Nintendo Power Homage collectible in it. So I thought, you know, hey, why not take the opportunity to do an unboxing on this? I have to buy it now since there's a Nintendo Power thing in it. So yeah, we're just gonna open this thing up and I'm gonna give you my opinion. Now, this will be a little interesting because I don't play Fire Emblem. The only exposure to the property that I have is through Smash, and I don't really play Smash either. As far as like my input on the Fire Emblem-ness of this, I don't know how helpful this will be. I'm mainly going to be looking at the Nintendo Power aspects of this release. I do think it's incredibly interesting that Nintendo would actually give an homage to Nintendo Power, because I don't tend to do that. Looking back is not something that they're really known for unless they feel like it's something that they can monetize heavily. So let's see. Well, that's kind of cool. Instantly. Hey, just a quick editor's note here. I spend a good amount of time in the next couple minutes of this video talking about how I feel like the homage to the box and the manual in this is towards the NES Black Box set. It's not. It's clearly an homage to the Famicom release of the game, the original release. So I kind of sound like an idiot for the next few minutes in this video. I only caught it when I was putting this together, and I feel like a dummy for that. So I apologize for all my Famicom fans. And if you'd like to thumbs down the video now for this, you can. But I feel like it's kind of okay, because what I was really interested in commenting on is the Nintendo Power piece in this box set, which is what I do later in the video and is good information. So I'm sorry, and I apologize, and yeah, that's all I got. All right, back to the video. Instantly, I can tell that this is a clear homage to the NES Black Box series. I mean, you would never see art like this on, or logo work like that on a Nintendo Black Box, but cool. Interesting that it's not sealed. Like, there's not even a sticker seal, which would also be a good homage. So there's clearly the Nintendo Power collectible. Ooh, this is an art book, a beautiful art book. Funny that the game is not sealed yet. The art book is. I am not a sealed collector, so let's do it. This is, try to do this upside down so you can see it. This is really, really pretty. Again, I can't really attest to the Fire Emblem-ness of this, as I really don't know much about the Fire Emblem property, but it's a beautiful art book. It's the quality is very nice, and the page quality is very nice. The print quality is very nice, and the embossing on the, not only is it embossed, but it also is like on a faux leather cover. don't know if you can see that. Very cool. I'm gonna just do this last because it's clearly like what I'm here to talk to you about. I can never open these without bending the lip. Oh, snap. What is this? Again, I didn't look this up or anything prior to buying this, so. All right, well, that is simultaneously incredible in one hand and disappointing in the other. This is a download code for the game rather than there being any physical media. There doesn't appear to be any physical media in this box, which is a trend that you might imagine I am not a terribly large fan of, being who I am. But this is bizarre and amazing. So this is, it feels like it's acrylic, it's not crystal, but this is a faux NES cartridge it's interesting that they printed the label on the back. I mean, it's a cool effect, but that's neat. There's no way in hell this would actually fit in an NES because there's not a recess in the bottom, but it's a cool thing. Maybe I'll put that on my desk for a little while for Art of Nintendo Power reviews. You can just kind of chill on my desk. It does come in a sleeve. This is like a fair bit of work for Nintendo, especially considering some odd choices that they made, like not putting a piece of physical media in the box. Well, anyway, we got our download code to scratch off. Here's a map. 2020 Nintendo. So it doesn't look like it's... I mean, someone else can probably tell me if I'm wrong, but it doesn't look like... this may not have been drawn. Although it does look like it's hand-drawn. So maybe it is older. Just like a reprint. Again, I don't know enough about the game to tell you, but it does come with a map. And an instruction booklet that is honestly much more reminiscent of a Super Nintendo instruction manual than a NES instruction manual. In case you're the 5 people who watch this and don't know, an NES manual typically would be like half of this and rectangular horizontally rather than vertically. But very much that Super Nintendo instruction manual aesthetic. It's really interesting that they would have gone so hard on the NES aesthetic for everything but the manual. Again, here's the box. It's interesting that they chose a matte finish on this too, like a really matte finish, much more matte than an actual NES black box would be. Also, this is an odd choice. They used cardboard instead of foam for the insert. Get out of there. All right, well, it's not coming out, but you can, here, check that out. There's cardboard in there, not styrofoam. It would have been easy for them to put a foam block in there, and it would have been more accurate. Interesting. It's also kind of interesting that they would have used they used the Nintendo Entertainment System logo, right? But then they used the oval seal of quality, which is, for NES black box standards, a newer logo, or a newer seal of quality. The older seal of qualities were circular, so it's interesting that they didn't. If they were going to go reach back and use the Nintendo Entertainment System logo, it's interesting that they wouldn't have gone with the circular seal of quality. again, it would have been much more accurate to Black Box aesthetic if they used a simpler font for the game title, and then also used a screenshot for the actual art. And if they wanted to get real fancy about it, they could have taken Polaroid photos of the screenshots instead of using actual digital screenshots. But cool. All right, now the part that I've been waiting for, the Nintendo Power Collectible. So Kat Bailey actually asked me what I thought about this the other day. So it's a poster essentially, but it's a faux Nintendo Power cover. And then on the back side, you have Counselor Corner stuff, which is very cool in that they've resurrected the Nestor image here with classified tips. That's cool. This is very cool. So a good attempt. However, I'm going to nitpick because I'm me and I'm going to nitpick. So a couple things that are odd about this, right? So first of all, this is claiming to be volume 11.5, which volume 11 is the Super Mario Brothers 3 clay cover. So a 11.5 would have been squarely in the era of where they were still doing almost entirely physical covers. So to see a hero shot, right side adjusted layout, which they did use a lot. Eventually they started using the hero character on the right side, and then with the offset information about the magazine on the left. But but you wouldn't have seen that this early, not at the 11 point, if you were doing something around issue 11, you would have not have seen that. You really didn't start seeing this until, I want to say, okay, so you did have one example of it when they did the Super Mario World cover, and that was in the 20s, 27, 28, something about that. I'm sorry, I'm not going to know issue covers off the top of my head, or issue numbers off the top of my head, but that was kind of a one-off because it was a very first-party game. You wouldn't really start seeing the right side adjusted a lot, and B, key art on a cover for a while. Even around here, you had around the issue 11 mark, I think the only cover I can think of that might have been key art by that point would have been the Rescue Rangers cover. And honestly, I'm not 100% sure whether or not that was key art or whether or not that was drawn. I just haven't found that art yet. Then you saw, then the Super Mario World key art. And then you wouldn't really see it again until, I think, Felix the Cat. And even then, the Lemmings cover had the big right side adjusted hero characters, but those are definitely drawn because I own that art. A lot of even the Disney covers like Aladdin and what else am I thinking of? Aladdin and Darkwing Duck. Those were big hero covers, but again, those were still drawn. They weren't using key art. So to see a key art, and by key art I mean like style guide art or art that was used in promotion, which this clearly is. You wouldn't really see that until much later in the N64 era. So to say that this is from a very early issue and then have it be key art on the front is not very realistic. as my friend Frank Cifaldi pointed out on Twitter as well, the fonts are a little off here. You also wouldn't see like cutout sprites like this, especially against realistic backgrounds, but that's just not something that they did in this era. They didn't use sprite work. If you saw something like this, it would be more realistic to see it like hand painted, even if it was like a hand painted iteration of sprite work. That would be something that would be a little bit more of that period. The other thing that I'm going to nitpick about this is that there was no way that they would ever, so this background is an actual photo. This is like a photograph of a field. If they would have done that at period, they would have actually built a miniature model of the trees and the grass, and then they would have shot that, and then they would have put there, if they did add a hero shot to that, then they would have overlaid that. So I mean, I love the attempt. Like, I'm not nitpicking this to say like, oh man, I hate this. Not at all. Like, I think it's wonderful. I think any throwback to Nintendo Power, I'm gonna get behind, no matter how well or poorly executed it is. So like, I'm happy that they did it. But people have been asking my opinion, so this is my opinion. I think it's got some pretty heavy inconsistencies for the time period that it's claiming to be. But it's a wonderful piece. Yeah. So yeah, that's what I think. Again, I think it's any homage to Nintendo Power, I'm going to be like squarely behind. But that's where those points there are kind of where this fell short. Anyway, that's going to be the review of the Fire Emblem Shadow Dragon and the Blade of Light 30th Anniversary box set. Hate this. Let's not go through all of the trouble to make a like retro throwback box set and then put a download code in there for the game. That's ridiculous. No. Also, love this. It's super weird. I think it would have been a little bit cool if they would have notched it in the bottom so that it would actually fit in an NES, because that's the kind of weirdo I am. But otherwise, it's neat. And the art book is beautiful. So, and this is great again. But yeah, so those are my thoughts on this box set. So I hope that was an interesting watch for you. If you like stuff like this, let me know in the comments, and I can keep doing unboxings if that's something that you like. I mean, obviously it's going to have to be like unboxings for things of this nature that are a little bit more retro styled, because that's what I care about, and that's probably largely what you guys care about. But I'm happy to do stuff like this if it's something that you guys are interested in. If you are not interested in this, and this video was a waste of your time, please let me know that too, and then I will not do them anymore, and I will just relegate this kind of stuff to, like, I don't know, posting on Twitter or whatever. But yeah, awesome. Thanks for your time, you guys, and I will see you next time on Art of Nintendo Power. Peace.